Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Cadet Correspondent Podcast, your one stop for all cadet events, news, and resources. I'm your host, Cadet Correspondent Trong, and with me today is Sergeant Mohan from the 177 Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron based in Winnipeg. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, let's get right into the topic. We know that we're both cadets, right? Cadets at heart. But what does the cadet organization mean to you?
For me, I feel like it's a step towards my goal of becoming a pilot. It's my first step because why not? And it's a big organization, so I feel like it'll help me get to that goal of myself, right? And it's also a place for me to be myself and learn new things that I know are going to be useful in my future. Um, it's a place for me to share my passion with other people. And whether that passion is for aviation or passion in general, um, and make new friends. But it may be different. Actually, it is different for everybody. So I can't say for other people, but for me, it's a place where I can be myself.
That is the different part is very true. Honestly, I'm not big into military I'm big into aviation, just not the military side of it. And I was more forced into the cadet organization. So
Oh,
it it was an experience. So
most people are, but once they get into the cadet organization, I feel like they kind of start liking it.
it's it really is dependent on the person is what I've noticed. Like, that there are going to always be certain people that won't like it as much because it's more military orientated,
Yeah.
but that's just their deal. It's an upbeat driven environment, and you gotta do what you gotta do. So, moving on here, how has cadets affected your life?
So I'm gonna follow up with your answer. I wasn't passionate or even interested in the field of aviation when I came to cadets. I was more into becoming a cop, and I thought that maybe the cadet training will help me in any way become a cop or even go into law enforcement. And um, maybe I'll have like great experiences, I thought, and I did. But I feel like as I started learning more about aviation and going to ground school, learning about principles of flight and everything, I grew more interested in aviation by the second month of cadets. And I was quite late for my age, but I caught up. And now I'm a sergeant, which is quite um, interesting because I never thought I'd be like here. Maybe I was like, maybe I'll drop out, maybe I won't. Um, but I'm a sergeant and I'm really proud of it. So yeah, I it's just a whole new thing you can learn about. Aviation is a huge, huge field and industry. Like you can learn so many things. And if it wasn't for cadets, I don't know if I would have known so many things right now.
I'm gonna follow up on your follow up. Okay. I've never wanted to really be into the aerospace or defense industry. I've always wanted to become a teacher, and that's still set in stone, okay? But what has always kind of set me aside for aviation is I could also be an aviation instructor. And so, considering that teaching and aviation kind of just go hand in hand for me, it kind of makes sense, but I don't want to make it a full time career. That's really it.
I know a person who is instructor, and he's in CVE aviation program. Um, he actually teaches in our school, so it's pretty
Oh,
cool. Yeah,
yeah,
it's really cool. I've talked to him so many times. He's so friendly, and he also does like regular teaching. He teaches
yeah,
science. So it can be a side job.
yeah. That then goes on to how has it really affected our lives, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, can be.
Uh, well, let's move on here. What makes us both interested in cadets? What's so interesting about it?
For me, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna start. Actually, I'm gonna tell you the backstory for why I came to cadets was because I was actually in the Remembrance Day assembly at my school, and I saw like those three air cadets marching to the wreath, and I'm like, whoa, their uniforms are cool. I want to wear that uniform. And I talked to my mom about it. My mom already knew about air cadets, and so she researched more, and so she finally found 177 air cadets, right? And I was like, oh wait, sure, I can join air cadets, and I'll be able to wear that uniform and march. Um, so that's why I joined. And then I was like, oh yeah, maybe I could do something with the uh, cop thingy. And my mom's like, yeah, sure, it'll help you in the future in some way, in at least one way. And I was like, okay, I'll join. Um, and then when I first wore that uniform, I was like, I felt so proud of myself. I was like, I'm finally a cadet. I can finally be somebody. And it just felt different. Um, but in general, I'm interested in all the things, learning about aviation. Like I said in the past answers, I've
Yeah,
been talking about aviation a lot. You can tell I'm very passionate about it. Um, Drill is something I am so passionate about as well. I It's been great being in the drill team. It's just you make new friends and you learn new things, the turns, the wheels, the halts, and different kind of drill commands. It's cool. Um, the uniforms, I love uniforms. Being because it makes you feel like you're somebody. Like I like the pilot uniform because if I wear it, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm a pilot. Like, whoa, that's cool.
yeah.
I just imagine myself doing it, but I don't know.
Honestly, like I said before, I was more in a forced environment. And the backstory of it is, in short, is that Warrant Officer First Class Strong was my cousin. And so my aunt was like, you should join too. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, I'd rather not. And here I am today, as a cadet correspondent and a sergeant. So, I don't know. It keeps me driven. I love the upbeat, driven environment. It keeps me on my toes, right? It's the socialization and keeping with that. It's always super great. I remember, like, one of my best moments was the start of our first camp. And mind you, this was in the dead of fall, kind of past November, and
Oh,
-10. So little old me was a bit underprepared and overwhelmed for
was it
the
FX?
it was
Yeah.
for the FTX, and I was very overwhelmed by these many things that we have to do.
Wow. Honestly, to be like very honest, I've never been to an FTX in
Oh
like
my
my
god.
2 years of cadets because I was going to go in I think March or April, something like that,
Yeah.
but COVID-19 it ruined
Yeah.
everything for me, at least because I was late to get cadets, so I was late by 1 year, um, so I couldn't go to any FTXs.
Yeah.
And this year I was gonna go finally, but
Yeah.
oh
COVID.
well, oh
But
well.
the FTX, the best moment, I think, is when we were getting split off into groups. I didn't have any friends at that time. I didn't know anybody. And so this group of guys with a group of three of them was like, hey, we need another person. Why don't you join us? And I don't think, if it wasn't for them, I really don't think I would keep going into the program because I just felt so alone at that time.
Hey,
Like,
I also did that
yeah,
on my first day. Um, I'm not gonna name her. You know her. Um, just because I don't wanna. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't wanna ruin everything. Maybe I'm not allowed to say names. Um, but she came up to me, and it was her first day as well. So we became friends. Um, but after like a week or so, she kind of like just went to other friends and all that. And I was like, no, I don't wanna continue anymore. I'm so lonely. And then this other girl came up to me and we started talking and we're still friends and we're such good friends. So I guess it's just about patience and all that.
cadets is really like social. And considering that COVID hit so badly, and now that it's virtual, all the classes just seem so unenthusiastic, is really all
They,
I can say.
yeah, not many people even turn on their cameras and all that. So
It's an interesting thing. Like, I know that the seniors are really trying, right? But
yeah,
I don't think they're pushing it enough. Like,
yeah.
there's so many capabilities with the technology we use that they could do virtual games. They could do like virtual,
Yeah, like we
like,
did in the summer camp this year.
yeah,
We played like Cahoots and all that.
it's
So
like my virtual classes with the Cadet Correspondent course right now. It's all virtual. I'm doing everything I can, and
yeah,
that's where it leads me. So, moving on to the last and final question. If you could summarize the cadet organization in one word, what would it be and why?
I did not look at that question, but um, I have to think about it because there's so many words that go with the cadet program. Um, maybe leadership, leadership, or oh my god, yeah, leadership. I guess I can't
Leadership?
think of word. That's what comes to mind when I think of cadets. It's because you know, cadets always has encouraged me to become a better leader. It's my first lesson on my first day of cadets was on leadership. So, and um, I learned about it every year. As you also know, we learn about it every year and how to become
Yeah.
a better leader, take notes, observe, you know.
Honestly, the one word that I would pick is probably impactful. Because,
Impactful is, yeah,
yeah,
it's impacted
because,
all of our lives in any way, shape, or form that is. It's impacted our lives, yeah. But as
yeah,
I said, it can be different for other people as well. Maybe,
yeah.
yeah. So I feel like it could be different for everybody else.
For
Maybe they
me,
want
yeah,
leaderships. Sorry,
it's
maybe
okay.
the
For me personally, impactful is such a meaningful word to the organization. Is a lot of the things I've earned and like I still treasure to this day, like my challenge coin from Cold Lake, my drill, no, not drill award. What am I forgetting? My dress, I don't know. Participation
Uniform.
award? Uniform award, thank you. And it's just so rewarding considering that everyone's watching you, everyone knows you, right? And like it's gonna be different for everyone, right? People are different, they're gonna act different, they're gonna do things differently. And just seeing that being noticed is
Yeah,
it's just heartwarming.
it's like one of my favorite memories. I have a few from cadet program. Like my first one ever was on my first ACR. I won the Gun Ho Award for the most enthusiastic cadet. Right? I was like, wow, it's my first year and I'm already achieving an award, which is like, how cool is that? Like, not
Yeah.
everyone, not everyone receives like an award on their first year.
Yeah.
So I felt really proud of myself. I was a corporal then. And then I was the drill commander in Cold Lake, Alberta for my GTG general training ground. I was the drill commander. I remember C.I. Woodland. He wasn't even in my squadron or my flight, but he came specially for my drill competition, and he took a video of me and sent to the squadron. I remember, even though I was embarrassed, it was one of like the proud moments where I'm like, oh my god, not even in my flight, and he's still taking a picture of me. Well,
I remember him saying something about your throat being whacked out before drill comp.
Not really,
Not
actually.
really.
Actually, his flight used the paper for commands. I never used any paper for the 32 commands I had to say.
And yet he still won, huh?
They still won, yes, because I kind of halted at the wrong place, but then I fixed myself. So that was a good thing without using the paper, so I should have won. But never mind.
I mean, doesn't it just make you a better person overall now? Right? Now you know where to halt. Even though C.I. Woodland makes fun of you still, but...
He always. I can't even stop that, so...
It's a learning curve for everyone. So, like, all the cadets, I absolutely love it. I love all the FTXs we've been on. I love the cadet organization. And
what's your most recent memory? Like, what's your most recent favorite memory?
Favorite? I hate virtual meetings. Don't get me started on that. But, like, no offense or anything. I'll attend them all the time. Like, you know me. I'll attend them. Yeah. I'm just bored out of my mind. What am I supposed to do? Like, I'm taking notes. That's it. Right?
I know people hate me for stopping the seniors because I'm taking notes, but I can't help it. I want to take notes. Yeah. I want to be better.
I mean, in reality, they're probably not taking notes either. So.
Well, I am taking notes.
I take very light jot notes, enough for me to remember, and that's what I've learned. Is that
only keywords?
Yeah. I've learned that Google Docs is your Lord and Savior at this point. There's no point in writing it on a pad of paper if you're just gonna throw it away in 4 years. So.
I use to write it on my Google Docs, like for the first virtual meetings, but then I felt like I was just it was just a lot of space in my drive and all that. It was taking up so much space. So I trashed it and I put it in my like cadet journal, I guess. I had it for a long time. Still works pretty good.
Yeah.
Still has a lot of pages. So why not use them, you know?
Like that does bring up like a very good point here that the cadet organization is changing, and whether we think it or not, we're gonna really have to adapt to how we do things, especially with virtual meetings. I really want to talk to the squadron about maybe switching because Teams isn't ideal. I can't lie with you there.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah.
But
it's been very hard for other people to join. Like
yeah, that's what I'm noticing.
Can't even join the meeting.
And I think Google Meets is a little better. I personally prefer WebEx just because I'm more used to that, and especially starting it off with the squadron doing this.
Yeah.
So it's something, right? We all have different views with the cadet background, all the cadet organization, the defense, the aerospace.
That's true. COVID, it stopped everything, especially like the cadet program.
Yeah.
We are a big part of it. All cadets are. And I feel like when it just stopped, I feel like everyone stopped being socializing.
Mm-hmm.
And our annual, our like ACR, that was pushed so much further than it should have been. Like, if you wanted to do it virtual, you could have done it before as well.
Like, it is what it is, right? We're still learning and adapting, and I can't even lie. I think most squadrons are having the same issue, and I've been hearing up north it's far worse in comparison to us because they don't have the proper equipment. And so and that's super bad. And they don't have enough funding for it too either. So when they want to do a meeting, it's very difficult because it's like you don't have the technology, you don't have the funding, you don't have the capabilities. And so that ends up being a problem.
Maybe we can talk to like the government about that. Can't we?
It's difficult with COVID times.
It's hard. We can try.
Right.
What's the harm in trying, you know?
Yeah. And that ends it off with, the cadet, or we always keep trying as cadets. So I think that's a good stopping point for today. So this ends the episode of the Cadet Correspondent Podcast. We'll see you on episode 2. Ciao.